Hello everybody! Welcome to my video on how to get started with modern calligraphy. If this is something that you've been interested in learning about or doing, then go ahead and keep on watching. So here are some tools that you can use to help you get started to begin learning how to do modern calligraphy. The first tool that I really like to use is just a pencil to help me sketch out and really get my lettering down. The next tool that I like to use is just a regular ink pen. These two tools, although they may seem very simple, they are two of my favorites to use, especially when I got started with modern calligraphy. That way I could erase my mistakes or simply just didn't have to waste my precious ink on my cool calligraphy pens that I had. And so these are perfect to use to get started. This next one that I have for you guys is the Tombow Feud Pen. It's very popular among the calligraphy community. And the last one is a Pentel Sign Touch Pen. Both of these are used very often in the calligraphy community, and I highly recommend these ones to get you started. To get started, I'm just going to use regular white lined paper. You can use a notebook paper or loose leaf. I'm just using loose leaf, and a pencil. For today's demonstration, I'm going to be using the word modern calligraphy. A lot of people like to say that calligraphy looks just like cursive, and essentially it's the same idea, but there's a lot more technicality to hand lettering than there is to just simply doing cursive. Now what you might notice is what I'm doing for every single letter. Whenever there is a new start, a new stem, or a new end, I am always going to intentionally lift up my hand. So I'm not going to let the pencil drag along the paper like I would with normal cursive. I am simply going to pick up my hand and then begin my next letter. Another thing that I want to mention is that there are a lot of letters that will look a lot more different than typical cursive. For example, the D, the R, the L's, the H's. These letters typically have a loop that starts at the top of their stem. Now here what I'm doing is I'm rewriting modern calligraphy again, except what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the stems below or slightly above each of my lines on the paper. This is a really easy way to add some spice or to switch up the lettering so that it's not in such a monotone straight line. Now what you're going to see me do next is adding some thickness to every downstroke that I make. So what I'll do is I'll go over and outline. Every time that my pencil goes up, I will leave it a thin line, and then every single time I go down, I'm going to try to thicken up those downstrokes. This is where modern calligraphy gets its very unique and fun style from. What you'll see me do with the word calligraphy is as I'm writing each letter, I'm not going to keep it necessarily in a straight line. I'm going to place the letters based on the shape of the word modern above it. For instance, if you look at my letter L's, they're placed a little bit lower than the usual line, and that way it kind of gives it a nicer look and kind of makes it more free-flowing than so straight. Repeat this process of first writing out the letters and then thickening the downstrokes with just a regular ink pen. tool that I'm going to use is the Tombow Feud Pen. The thing that is unique about this type of pen is that the tip is flexible, and so with this flexible tip you're able to naturally get thin upstrokes and thick downstrokes without having to recreate it yourself a second time. And so as you can see, when I go up, it makes a very nice thin stroke, and then if I go down, I'm going to apply more pressure to the pen to make that nice thick line. I'll demonstrate on the side here a really easy drill that you can do to practice those upstrokes and downstrokes. So going up, you'll just make a thin upstroke, and then going down, you're going to apply as even of pressure as you can. The next pen that I'm going to use is the last pen, which is the Pentel Sign Touch. What I really like about this is that it's very similar to the Tombow pen. It essentially has the same type of brush tip, but these pens come in a variety of colors, and they are more noted as a watercolor base, whereas the Tombow pen is more of a permanent ink. And so you'll see me here rewriting the word again, modern. But as you can see, the tip is a little bit different. Sometimes you'll be able to get cleaner lines, and sometimes you'll have more fraying based on the type of paper that you're going to use. For this last clip, I'm going to go back to using my absolute most favorite pen ever, which is the Tombow Feud Pen. I want to show you guys my process for how I practice lettering and really get it down to a way that I like. In this first time around, I'm trying to write the word as straight as I can in a neat line. That way I can kind of see how long each word is going to be once it's finally written out. This really helps me with the placement of my letters and makes the words connect and look a lot better. As you can see, I also switch up some of my letters like the G and the Y. Instead of connecting them to the next letter, I'm fishtailing it out to give it a more fancy look. Now that I know how long each of my words is going to be, I'm going to experiment a little bit and spice it up by extending my tails out and not letting the word be so straight. Overall, I feel like it just gives it a nice look and it makes it unique to my own personal style and preference. So there we have it. That is my basic introduction to how to do hand lettering and modern calligraphy. I encourage you to practice, 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 and never give up. I promise you that at first it might not look as great as you want it to, but if you practice, it will always end up looking better than what you first started with. If you felt like you learned something from this video, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye.